Welcome to the Frazzle podcast, where we talk about building boundaries to protect your energy and building systems to manage your time. Today, I'm so excited to have Jenny Douglas with us from A Good Moment Company, where we're going to talk about how you can build that permission mindset to create a calm home with boundaries systems. So, Jenny, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Aoife. It's so good to be here.
I'm so thrilled to have you and to talk about your story. Tell us about how you got into this industry of professional organisation.
I'm Jenny Douglas. I'm the founder of A Good Moment Company, and it's a professional organising business, working from Dublin, but working nationwide in Ireland and online. Professional organiser, it's a funny title. A lot of people ask me what it means when I explain it. I professionally organise people's homes, workspaces, and get them back from that kind of chaos into a calm setting. And the history about how it all came about was I am a very organised person myself, always has been since a child. I shared a room with my sister. My half of the room was, very neat, tidy and all organised. Well, the other half wasn't so much.
Yin and yang.
Very much so. From a very early age, and I used to help my mum put the shopping away. I'd be organising all the cupboards. It was just something I love. It's how I work well. I need structure, I need organization. And that followed me all throughout school, all throughout college and into my working life. My background is I used to work for charities doing fundraising and marketing for nearly 20 years. The scope with that is you always need to be organised. It was a very fast moving environment to work in. I managed large teams and, I had to be highly organised in every sense of the word. And I loved it. I loved that career. It was something I was really passionate about, helping people in any way possible. So it all stemmed from when I met my husband and we got married and we started trying for children. Unfortunately, we found it very hard not to get pregnant, but to keep our pregnancies. So we went through an awful lot of loss and ended up in the whole IVF journey through that as well. And for a fair few years there, we were on that journey. That was hard. And it was particularly hard for me because I have the control nature. I always like to be in control. I always like to be making decisions. I always like to follow a plan and a path. And when you're in that world, it's all up in the air. You have all these doctors telling you need to do this, that, and the other. Your body might be saying something else. And so I found that hard because I lost that sense of control that I was used to myself. But we were very fortunate and we did get to have our little boy, Hugh, who's 5 now. But during that time, I did everything in my power to have control where I didn't have it elsewhere. And a huge part of that was my home. And during that journey, we bought a house and we did it up and renovated. And so I had this new purpose during that time to organize my home in a way that worked really well for me, my husband at the time, our cat. And I loved it. I really, really loved it. And unfortunately, I was diagnosed back in 2023 with breast cancer.
God.
And Hugh was 2 at the time. And I was facing into a journey between surgery and treatment. I knew I was going to be spending a lot of time at home. I decided I wasn't going to work through it. And so once I realized I was going to be at home, but also probably not in the same capacity to do things around my house that, I was used to, because the house was always organized. We had our little routine about how things went. Our own systems were all in place, but I knew that might be hard to upkeep. And obviously my husband was going to be taking on a lot more than I would be able to, probably physically. Mentally, I was writing all the notes down, giving him all the orders, but it was him that was going to have to do a lot of the work, and he was going to have to do an awful lot more with Hugh than I was able to. And what I decided was, while my house was very organised and it suited us at that time, I suppose the fact that I was going to be within ill health to a certain degree, that I wouldn't be able to do as much. Also, I wanted to move things around, shift things, change things a little bit that would suit me a bit better for someone who's going to be predominantly at home an awful lot more. And so I went to a mum's talk. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're mum's talks. Yeah, I went to one of them a couple of months previous, and I had actually seen another professional organizer speak at that.
Okay.
And she was amazing, and everything was just like ding, ding, ding in my head. It made perfect sense to me. I decided after my surgery, before I started chemo, that I wanted to get her out to my house and to have a look and maybe create new ways of doing things, new systems, just get somebody else's eye on it. And I was really intrigued by this profession. I'd never seen it before. I heard of it, but not in Ireland. It's very popular in the UK and America, as you can imagine. She came out and she was like, well, first of all, Jenny, what am I doing here? I don't really need to be here. And I was like, I know, but I just love to get your take on things and see if there's any suggestions, because you can't get stuck in your ways as well. And I wanted to get kind of those fresh eyes on things. We were chatting throughout the whole time, and she definitely gave me some pointers. She's like, well, if you're going to be using this room predominantly, maybe you should bring this in here or move that out, and we got some great systems going. Then I started into my treatment, and I had an awful lot of time to think, like I couldn't physically do a huge amount, but my brain was fine, and it was still thinking. And I was very, as I say, used to working in a very fast environment in the charity sector. So it felt weird not to be using my brain at the same level that I was used to. And I really started looking into the profession of professional organising. And I started having chats with friends and family. And for years, they'd be like, Jenny, you should do this, you should do that. And, during COVID, the Home Edit came out on Netflix. And everybody was like, Jenny, that's you. Yeah. And so I was kind of like, God, yeah, maybe I will look into this. And so that's what I did. I spent the time that I was going through treatment actually researching everything, and I said, I'm going to give this a shot. I think I'm going to really look into this. And I did, and I started doing online courses, research. I started coming up with a business plan. I went and got qualified in professional organizing as well, and I spent that year and a half just getting to the point that when I finished my last treatment, nearly this time last year, last September, the same week I finished my treatment, I launched a Good Moment company. Very soft launch, very small, but just went, yeah, I'm going to do this. And obviously I told my work at the time that I decided that I wasn't going to go back. I liked the idea of, which I've always liked, the idea of having my own business. I've always wanted to do something like that. So I suppose having, a little epiphany about what I wanted in life going forward, and a little bit more flexibility in my life, more time to be around and there for my son and my husband and my wider family, my parents as well. I decided this was really something that I think could really work well for me. And I still get to help people in some way through a passion of organising and decluttering and making space for calmness in people's lives. So yeah, that's what happened. I launched it within a week now, this time last year.
Oh my God.
And it's just gone from strength to strength ever since. Absolutely loving it.
So first of all, congratulations on your 1 year anniversary.
Yeah, in a week today, yeah.
I couldn't believe it when we first had our chat and you said that you've been in business a year. I was like, what? You seem so established. But then when I hear that you actually spent the time when you were ill to set up a business is just amazing. Talking me, you can't keep a good thing down.
No, don't get me wrong. Day one wasn't, off we go. Yeah. I've learned an awful lot since within a year of business. I suppose the good thing, the background I have working in the charity sector, working in fundraising and marketing, you do actually deal with all the other areas of business between finance, HR, communications, operations, all of it. And it always affected the fundraising sector. So I had a great understanding of what needed to happen in all facets of a business. But don't get me wrong, doesn't mean, from day one that I was, absolutely flooring it. Yeah. I've actually learned within the year, sometimes it's great to outsource things. 100%. Sometimes it's like, okay, let's just put that in the back burner and concentrate on this, so it's been a really, really interesting year for me within the business. And, as I said, one of the main reasons was to have flexibility, which actually really came to the fore this year because my mother became very unwell and unfortunately passed away. But that flexibility that I was there to be around for her and my father and my extended family was amazing. I would have never had that same luxury if I was working in the more kind of corporate charity sector, so yeah, it's been an interesting first year.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and your journey. I feel like I'm looking into a mirror and I can relate with so many things you say, like with first of all the type A kind of personality, the organization, the
Yeah.
control, liking to have things in place and getting results. But then getting that, like the first knock with the fertility journey, I would have been the same. You build a plan and it just happens, and you work really
Yeah.
hard, and then it's a space where you have no control, and you still take it personally, where you think it's, what am I doing wrong? And that's really hard. You came out the other side, and congratulations. He was 5 now. That's amazing. So, but not an easy journey. And then to get through that and have a 2-year-old and, face the battle with cancer. So I'm sorry that you've had to go through that, but isn't it amazing that out of the pain has come purpose?
I'm a big believer, things happen for a reason, whatever way the world works, the path I'm on now, my second coming, in terms of where I'm going. It's my second career.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I'm hugely passionate about it. I still get to help people in a different way, and I get huge enjoyment from myself, huge personal satisfaction from it. So, I couldn't ask for anything more, really.
Yeah. So congratulations to take something so challenging and turn it into something with so much passion and purpose. I'll go off the topic in a second, but it's a similar thing happened to me. I always talk about this with the baby loss of 5 months, and that stopped me in my tracks to then go, okay, what do I actually want? Really makes you stop and think. And this is why I'm doing Frazzle. So it's amazing that we're here together to kind of talk about this, and we're so aligned in the organization of a home and the value of it and why it's important. And I'd love to talk more about that, because I believe, and this is what I work with my clients on and what we work on in the Life Work Balance Blueprint, it's building the permission mindset to make space for things that, create calm in your life. So whether, for me, we talk about it's that 20-minute walk to give you headspace, or if it's getting systems in place in your home so that your space is calm. And for me personally, sometimes when I don't feel like I have control over things, whether it's in the business or my personal life, like we lost our father suddenly this year as well. And there's so much chaos around us that we can't control, right? Everything that you just told us about your story that I've gone through, that so many of us go through. Even this summer, it's been kind of quite chaotic with juggling summer camps. But for me, the one thing that's steady and consistent is my home is organized. I have systems, it's tidy, and it's calm. And it feels like it is actually the one thing that I can control in a space where we don't have a lot of control. But I see the value of it, and that's why I invest my time. But I really struggled with that at the start, especially when I started my own business. How can I justify putting a little bit of time into decluttering when I know I need to focus on the business? Because we have the 4 quadrants of our lives with work, the home, we have family, and then the goal is to make room for self-care, so you have that headspace. I really struggled with, when I set up my own business, how can I take time out of this to put time into the home? But when I did it, I saw that, okay, this is why, because I'm in a calm space and I work from home. I need to have a calm space. Also, with kids, there's nothing calm about that, but my space is always calm. Like in the evening, I will get my jobs done and I'll sit down and watch Netflix for an hour, and that's my calm space. So I'd love to talk about the why. So for many of you listening today, you're busy, you're working full time, and okay, I want to calm home, I want to tidy home, I want to organize home, but I can't justify the time to do it. So how do we build that mindset?
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. It is a mindset. We really have to kind of lean into that. It's not about just quickly running around the house and tidying up and going boom, because it's just going to come back into that. And a lot of people come to me, they often say, like, I don't even know where to start, or I constantly feel like I'm firefighting. I'm just doing the same things over and over again, and it doesn't get any better. And it's actually not about the clutter. Usually it's about all those feelings of pressure that you have, that you need to put the dinner on, get the kids out the door, I need to reply to those emails, I need to do an extra half an hour of work in the evenings just to get that across the line. We all have all these demands, and there's all this noise going on around us, and we need to get our mindset into gear. And so when your mind is like that, that's usually reflected then in your home.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about getting your mind clear. The first thing I do is I don't go in and go, okay, we're going to tackle this room, or we're going to do this, that, and the other. I go, stop. Let's just stop for a minute. You know, when people contact me, I'm having maybe a phone consultation or maybe a physical consultation. The first thing I ask them is not to show me the space. The first thing I always ask them is, why do you want calm?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is the reasoning behind this? How do you feel being organized will actually help you? And then we kind of dig into it. And as I say, it's usually just not about tidiness. It's about, I want to feel calm. I want to be able to get out of the house in the morning. Don't want to be shouting. Don't be telling the kids to grab their bags, brush their teeth, do this. Like, I want to be able to have more headspace.
Mm-hmm.
Going into work. I want to feel calm when I sit down at my computer to go, okay, I'm going to focus in on work now, nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
And like that, like I want to be able to sit down in the evening after I've doing all your jobs and have that hour or two to watch Netflix, to make a phone call, to go to the gym, whatever it is, you know, that gives you that peace in the evenings. And that's important because there's lots of research out there, but 78% of parents say clutter in home increases their stress levels. And around half of them admit also it causes arguments with their partners and their loved ones and their children. So it's not about stuff. It's about how you're feeling in your home. And once you understand why you want to do this, you then have actual direction. Because if you don't have that direction, if you don't have that level of understanding about why you want this, you're just going to keep going back to all your old habits. You're working blind then, and it's just going to be that constant cycle all the time.
And that's it's about habit change.
It is, yeah.
And that's
huge. It's knowing your why, because it goes from just doing jobs to an actual purpose, you know? Instead of going, I just want to have a tidy table. But why do you want to have a tidy kitchen table? Oh, because I wanted to start having family meals at the kitchen table without phones, without TV on, without a laptop over in the corner. So you can actually have a conversation. And, you know, hence the name of my business. It's all about getting those good moments back into your life, whatever they are for you. See, once you have these systems built and you understand why, you know, you're just going from tidying up a mess or making it look aesthetically nice for when you have visitors to a real purpose of, this is going to give me something positive back into my life, back into my family's life. And, you know, that knowing of your why can be really, really, really powerful. It can put you on a trajectory of a different life altogether. Instead of the heavy feeling, that anxiety, low level anxiety that you're just carrying around with you every day. It's okay for your house to be messy. Like, I'll tell you right now, my kitchen downstairs has not been touched since first thing this morning. I've had somebody in and like, you know, there's going to be a good 20 minutes there for me to tidy up when I go down now at lunchtime and take my break.
Yeah.
That's fine, because I've got little systems in place, you know? So it's okay to have those areas in your home that aren't, you know, perfectly tidy and organized. But once you have systems and once you know, okay, I'm happy with leaving that like that, because right now I need to focus on doing this podcast, and I will go down later on and I'll tidy that up. And that's okay, because the purpose is for me today to have a good work day.
Yeah.
And I've decided that I'm going to schedule in when I'm going to do things. And as I say, once you know your why, once you know your purpose, kind of generally, but also even on a daily basis. Like I say, today for me was about doing this podcast with you this morning. Yeah. So I will then focus my energy later on getting that kitchen tidy. And I have systems in place that will make that really quick and really easy. And it won't feel like a major, major chore for me.
There's so many things that I want to jump into that you've said there. I'm like, ding, ding. It goes back to your values. It goes back to your why. Is this important for you to have a family dinner? Right? Because it's the one time you can connect in the day. You're all busy. And what does that take? And I love that. It's like stand back. And I think that's the problem that we have as busy working mothers. It's affording ourselves the space and the time to just stop and say, okay, the clutter is stressing me out. What do I need to do to sort this out? But why? You know, it's because I want to be able to have people over. Like you mentioned that, I'm not going to invite my friends over for dinner because the place is a mess and I can't deal with cleaning up. But when you have a system in place to have the place tidy, when everything has a home, then that won't be a factor anymore. Right? You might have to think about what you're going to cook or get a takeaway, but these things shouldn't be obstacles to do the things that matter, like spend time with your family and have a calm meal as much as it can be when you have kids. but also have people over. And it seems so overwhelming to tackle it. But when you break it down and you're going to go, first of all, let's look at our why and what's the goal here. And that's going to be your motivation. Because if you want to build a habit, it's about the slow, small changes. And I love the way you say, don't show me your space. Show me what's going on internally, your internal space. And then
Yeah.
we can tackle that project and build a system. And I have a framework called How to Run Your Home Like a Business. But it's the same way we tackle a project in work. It's looking at what's our metric of success here. Why are we doing this? And let's break it down.
Everybody knows how to do things, you know, like they see it from their family or their friends, or they see it online, or they see it from TV programs. Everybody knows, oh, to declutter means I get a bag and I start putting things in. And that's fine. If you're kind of a person that just wants to get straight in there and start doing stuff, you know, that's just your personality. But if you don't know the why, if you don't know the purpose of this behind it all, you're just going to start getting into that cycle of, I should do that, I will do this, I'll just do that. But then you just get in the cycle of not really addressing the reason and the actual problem. Like you could be like, okay, things keep landing on my kitchen table and we can't have family dinners or friends over. But why? Actually, when I think about it, we don't have enough storage. I don't have a place for the kids to put their school bags when they come in the evenings. You know, we haven't designated an area for me to put my work bag, or, you know, when the post comes in, where does that go? It gets strung on the kitchen island and it kind of sits there for days. Then if you understand why you want to have your kitchen table back, and you understand what's stopping you, we haven't designated space, or we don't have enough storage, or we haven't decided that actually the letters sit over there instead of over here. Once you start doing that, before you even start touching anything, it will make the process so much easier for you. It will make you realize, okay, actually, there's a whole section in that dining room of a cupboard that's empty. Maybe we could start putting some things in there as a home, making sure that everything has a purposeful home that, you know, suits you and the functionality of your family. So making sure you know your why, making sure you understand where things should go, and then you start the whole process of decluttering and organizing.
And you mentioned as well the scheduling, and I'm a big scheduler. I'm big into time boxing. And it really is a project. Like there's a lot of different facets, but it's stopping and thinking and getting support, right? Like you would in a business, like you get a consultant in, like that's what you are. Let me come in and give you fresh eyes and give you a project plan as to how we can do this. I loved when you just said there, oh, the kitchen needs to be clean, but I'm not stressed out about it because I know I've got a pocket of 20 minutes over my lunch break. I'm going to do it then. And then I have systems to do it. It made me think about laundry. I believe we've 3 cyclical things that we need to manage in the home, which is cooking. It's never going to end, laundry and the dishes. So it's figuring out, and this is what I do in the Life Work Blueprint. We kind of look at plans and we look at, okay, what needs to be done, and delegation like you would in a business, and who's going to own it and who's going to own it end to end. But it's building a system around it. And it reminded me of last night. I looked at the laundry pile and my system, right? I have a laundry basket, and when it's full, I know I need to put it away, right? I've got little separators. It's a whole system. Like that's normally the trigger for me. If it's full, I go, oh, I need to empty it. But then I said, you know what? I'm a bit tired. It needs to be done, but I'm not as busy tomorrow night. I'll get to it then. So I'm not stressed out about it. It's the understanding that these things need to be done. When am I going to do it and how am I going to do it? You mentioned the systems. I'd love to know what your system is now when you go downstairs to clean your kitchen. Like, what are your systems? Or can you give us an example of a system?
Okay, so I'm just thinking what my kitchen is like down there now. So I have the whole back kitchen, and then I have a large island in front of it. And there is, on the island beside the sink, there is a load of dishes just piled up there from this morning because the dishwasher wasn't empty this morning. It was put on last night and it wasn't empty this morning. So when I go down, the first thing I'm going to do is quickly unpack the dishwasher, and then I'm going to put everything that's dirty into it. There may be a few items I need to hand wash, you know, some of the plastic things I don't want shrinking. So I'll hand wash them and I'll put them to dry. And then what I do is I take all the other clutter, that's on the kitchen, I start putting that away, things back into the fridge, things back into the drawers, maybe some non-kitchen items that need to go somewhere else. And what I have also in my kitchen, on my kitchen table, is it's quite a large kitchen table. So I do have a box at the very end of it, right in the kind of far corner where no one usually sits. And that's a catch-all basket. Because let's be realistic, I do kind of have a maintenance rule of put things away, not down, you know? So like if you're coming in the door and you just hang your jacket over the stairs banister when you actually have a cloak, you know, hook somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer of go to that cloak and just put it away, because you know you're doing double work
jobbing,
basically, you know, which isn't necessary. But let's be realistic, we're all human. There's things that are going to come into your space that you just mightn't get to at that moment. And so I have this catch-all basket. So there's a few random bits in there. There'll be, you know, it's kind of like a little junk drawer in a way. There'll be posts, there'll be random kids' toys, there'll be a battery from something, whatever it may be, pens, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to think what's in there now. But that's always there. And like that, when I feel it's getting a little bit too full, I then go and start putting all the things in their correct home, because everything in my house does have a home. Like my junk drawer, it is a junk drawer, but it's a designed junk drawer in that way. You know, it's not just completely random. There's separators, and I have certain things that go there. Like it might need its own box, or it might need its own huge space, but it has this one little slither of an area in my junk drawer. And when I put all those things back in their home, I then wipe down all the surfaces and I literally just hoover around the kitchen space, because like that, I'm time blocking, you know. I kind of go, I'll do 20 minutes while I'm getting my lunch ready. I will do that and I'll hoover just around that space. Now, my kitchen living room is all open plan. So I could end up going, oh, I'll just hoover over here. Oh, next thing I'm fluffing the cushion. Next thing I'm doing the throw. Oh, I'm organizing the books. And, you know, I don't do that because I'm time poor, like we all are. We're hugely time poor. And I love organizing and tidying up and cleaning to a certain degree. And I have to catch myself that I just don't go off in a tangent, because I have to do other things in the afternoon, working from home. And that's it. I know we can get really distracted sometimes about working from home. And I found that quite hard, actually, when I started working from home predominantly, was coming downstairs or going upstairs and seeing things and going, oh, I'll just quickly do that. Oh, I'll quickly do that. And next thing I knew, I'd lost an hour, you know? And so I'm really precious about my time now. And I go, okay, if I'm working in a certain space, it does need to be tidied and organized around me. And, you know, I have my systems in place. I quickly do that before I start work. But if I'm like right now, I'm up in my office. If I go downstairs to get a glass of water and I see something, I go, no, Jen, stop, leave it. My priority today is to do A, B, and C. Therefore, say in the evening time after 5:30. And I've that control thing that's within me. And I've really had to learn how to go, you don't see it, you don't see it. And it's okay. Like, it's okay for your home, your space to be that little bit cluttered, that little bit untidy. Let's be realistic. It's not about having Instagram perfect homes that we all see and some may aspire to. Great if you have that and that works for you and you can maintain that. But I have a husband, I have a cat, I have a son.
Yeah.
I'm my own person as well. We're not all perfect. So let's be realistic and go, your home is going to be a certain way. But if you get those systems in place, like having a catch-all basket, like time blocking your time, like going, relax, Jen. It's okay for that to be like that for another half an hour, 45 minutes until you get your thing done. Come back down later and sort it out. That's perfectly fine. And I think we have to be kind to ourselves where there's such pressures to be like that, a working mom that can do it all. Like us working moms, it's been shown that we do an extra 2.5 hours of unpaid housework every single day. And so if you've good systems in place, if you've time blocking and making decisions about how you're going to spend your time, if you're able to claw back about 15 minutes a day, that's actually 90 hours a year. Think that's what huge. We could do with 90 hours. Like that for me is a 2-day spa trip with the girls, you know. There's so many benefits we can have when we manage our time better and reclaim it and use it for a positive thing like that. You're saying your fourth quadrant is your self-care. I find that hugely important, even more so after the health problems I've gone through over the last years. I really make that time for me. So scheduling and making sure my house can be dealt with quite quickly gives me more time to have more good moments in my life.
I love it. And I can relate so much. I know the term self-care, it gives people the ick. They hate it because it's like, oh, great, another thing I'm failing at. But when you go through burnout or ill health, you kind of stop and go, okay, I actually need this. I need this for my health. I need this to be
Usually.
calm. And I'm the same. Like, I make that a priority. And like me hanging out with my friends, going out for dinner with my friends, like for me, that's self-care. Going for a walk. So it's about being intentional. It goes back to your why. When I look at the 4 quadrants and I look at work and the home goal for me is to have a tidy and clean home, because for me, I function in that space. I'm more focused in work. I'm calmer with my kids. It's all interconnected. I think it's really important to touch on what you said there about the perfectionism. We're bombarded on Instagram with the image of perfection and this gorgeous house, but it's not realistic. And it's good enough. And that's where the boundaries come in. Like what you discussed there with, I'm working from whatever 9 to 5:30. And within that space, I have a baseline that I want the table to be tidy and I want the ground to be tidy. I would be the same. But after that, if I want anything bigger done, I'll look at time blocking and maybe do it in the evening or do it on the weekend. But also look at outsourcing and looking at health. For me personally, I have a cleaner that comes in every 2 weeks, and that's outsourcing, and that's a system that helps me manage the cleaning element. But that's only one tiny facet of a home, really, isn't it? Like the biggest piece is the decluttering, and then it's the organization, finding a home, and that's kind of where the systems come in.
Systems are huge. Outsourcing is something we have done since the day dot. We've outsourced some part of our life. As our lives get busier and we as a human race decide that this is important or that is important, sometimes then you decide, okay, well, I'm going to outsource these things to help me still do them, but maybe not spend as much time. I have a cleaner too. And people are like, why do you need a cleaner? Because I value my time. Not that I don't value cleaning, but I've decided that I'm not going to spend an extra 3-4 hours a week doing these items, because for me, my priority is 1, to work my business, and 2, to be there for my family. So if I can claw back 4 hours of my time each week, I will do that in any respect, in my work life, in my personal life. Having my mobile phone as my walking around computer and doing things on the go when I have 5 minutes, that's clawing back 5 minutes time later on in the evening. We make those decisions unconsciously all the time. And so for me, having a cleaner once a week gives me an extra 4 hours to do what I want to do. But like that, I had to put systems into place to make it therefore efficient for the cleaner to come in and work, because there's no point in them coming into a complete house that, just is not working, and they're lifting one thing. Yeah, exactly. And we're all done it. It's like the pre-hair wash, hairdresser trip, we've all done it. But if you can put good systems in place prior to that, it will make huge difference for those 4 hours maybe that you have a cleaner in. Or it's like that someone coming to wash your windows or go to the car wash instead of washing the car yourself. Whatever it is, we're outsourcing. I think sometimes it can be excessive, depending on your level of enjoyment, because I actually enjoy doing certain things around my house. But for some people, it's really overwhelming and they just don't know where to start. And I really truly believe professional organizing is going to be as popular as a cleaner or your window washer or a car wash. It's going to get to that point where people go, okay, I find this hugely overwhelming. I do not know where to start. This is actually stressing me out. And we don't need extra stress in our lives. Like, you may want to go, right, I want to get a hold of this playroom. It's just a hot mess. Or I want to get control of the pantry or the kitchen or the utility room, whatever it maybe is. But they may feel guilty about spending so much time starting that. And if they don't know where to start and they don't understand what systems they can put in place, but that mightn't be time well spent. It might be better to get somebody in and 100%. Say, okay, can you help me with this? No one should feel guilty about doing something in their home or hiring someone to help them with their home. We got to get out of that self-deprecation, because we do that all the time. Like, we look at a pile of clutter over there and the first thing goes, oh, I haven't done that yet. And there's just this huge guilt, this huge pressure we're constantly putting on ourselves. And that's really, really self-deprecating and really unnecessary. And we don't want that voice to be in our head all the time. We want to look at a pile of clutter and go, oh, sugar. Yeah, right. I need 10 minutes to sort that out. Boom, done.
Yeah.
That's the way we should be thinking, not, I still haven't done this. My house is a mess. Oh my God, I can't invite people over. I'm so embarrassed. They are not things we should be feeling. And I know it's hard. It's very easy for me to say that. I really feel that we have so much going on in our lives. Our homes should not be a source of chaos for us. They should be a sanctuary for us. When we come home in the evenings from work, open that door, have a little system place where we put our handbag, our keys, our jacket, walk into a kitchen that's relatively tidy, or will only take 10-15 minutes to sort out after dinner. They're the kind of benefits our home should be giving us. It should be a sanctuary. It should be a place where you feel comfortable, where you feel enlightened, where you feel like you can just relax without any extra added stress,
Absolutely. When you described earlier on tidying in the morning and going to work and being able to focus on work. And this is like the work that I do inside the blueprint. It's when you get these systems in place and you have boundaries, you can be more focused and productive. So if you're sitting at your desk
completely,
and you've left a house that's, relatively tidy, and you know that you're walking back in the door to a relatively tidy house as opposed to chaos. When you're driving in that car in the way home and you know what you're facing into, like that's just going to have a negative roll-on effect. Then there's the resent with your partner. Okay, why do I care more about this than you? So it's sitting down and creating that blueprint and saying, okay, what needs to be done here? Let's tackle this and let's figure out a plan and a system to support me. I think that we do have that negativity bias. This, I can't ask for help, whether it's like the analogy of running your home like a business where internally, your internal team, which is your kids and if you have a partner, and then your external team, you're outsourcing because you think I should be able to do this myself. But we need to get out of this kind of tradition hangover where we compare ourselves to maybe our mothers when they weren't working full time and we have more pressures on us. And I even speak to women, just the generation behind us, like 15 years ago, and they say, oh my God, like you have so much to do with Instagram and all this comparison, like biggest comparison tools. So not only do we feel like we're failing, but then we're looking at other people who look like they're nailing it. It's actually just stopping and saying, okay, what is going to help me be calm? And what do we need to outsource and get help? And there's no shame. There's no guilt about it. Like we all need help. I think about systems in every quadrant of my life. So from like a work capacity, from a home capacity, a family capacity, even self-care. I think about help that I've needed in my business. I had to get a marketing coach, whereas my background career is in marketing. I've never marketed myself. You think you should know these things, but no, we need help. And then when you get that support, when someone's there holding your hand, that's when you shine and that's when you get the results.
Completely. And as women, we're such, yes people as well. So like we want to be able to do it all. I don't want to say that so flippantly. For me, I want to be able to do it all. I know I want to be able to, and I know I can't. There's a self-realization that has come over the years, particularly in the last couple of years, due to ill health, whatever. I've just gone, I can't. I actually can't. And even to this day, there's certain things I know I can't do. And I've just gone, Jenny, you need to be okay with the fact that 1, you can't do it. 2, you don't have the time to learn. 3, you don't even want to do it. If I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. I'm going to outsource it or not do it at all. And that's an okay decision to make. We shouldn't be saying yes to everything. It's yes to everything in our family, doing the food shop, saying yes to all the play dates, saying yes to extra work in the evenings, saying yes to being a volunteer to do this, to help a friend out with that. It's okay to say no. And that's a boundary thing. Like we have to learn to say no in so many respects of our life. But when it comes to your home and the organization and the calmness of your home, it's okay to say no to that. It's okay to say, you know what, I don't want to have a play date in my house this Saturday because I just spent the whole morning tidying up this place and I don't want to go to it again, And so it's okay to say 100%. That. It's okay to say, no, I'm actually going to say no to going for a walk or meeting my friends for a coffee. I just want to sit in my beautiful living room that is calm and peaceful with my book and drink a cup of coffee. That's okay. So it's okay to say no to things. And I think I know I've started an awful lot more to say no. I was very much a people pleaser over the
Oh, me
years in
too.
all facets of my life. And so I've definitely started to say no. And I joke about it and I say, oh, I'm being a little bit selfish. And I shouldn't say that. I just say, no, I just don't want to do that right
Yeah.
now. I want to do this. It's about our energy. It's about our time. It's okay for us to put boundaries up on that. A good way of saving that energy and time is, one, to outsource things, and two, to get systems in place. So, like, for example, as I said, come home in the evenings, have a designated space for your keys, have a designated space for your work bag. So just sit in the kitchen idle or on the couch. Have a space where you put your work shoes away and your work jacket away. So when you're coming in, they're the first things you're doing, and you're doing things right now and not double jobbing later on by tidying them up again. When you come in, the first thing I would do then is I usually have my son with me, so I have to do all that for his stuff as well. And I've, got him to a point where where your shoes go in that basket, you put them back, where your jacket goes. His school or bag does go on the kitchen table because I take out the lunchbox and I take out his water bottle and I deal with them straight away. They don't sit in the sink. I just deal with them straight away because the smell, and right now all the little fruit flies and all the rest, whatever. So they get dealt with straight away. And the first thing he's doing, we have this routine. He's going over to his bookshelf and he's picking out a book that we're going to read while he has his dinner. So we have these little routines put in place, and they've evolved and they've changed. They change with age. They've changed due to the season. They've changed for whatever reason. They evolve and change all the time, but it's a routine we put in place that just makes things run smoother. And so, after half an hour or an hour being home, I'm not now looking around going, oh, my work bag, my jacket, my keys, my phone, that bag of shopping, Hugh's lunchbox, It's all just becoming part of a routine, this kind of habit stacking. You have a habit of already doing something. Let's just put one little thing on top of that and make it easier. So now I empty a school bag straight away. I start cleaning up his lunchbox and his bottle. It's just stacking one little small thing that saves you time, that claws back you time, that saves you looking at it later on in the evening going, oh, I have to do all this. A lot of that can be done. Like we're carrying around all this cortisol in our body already, and women in particular, once that is raised, once their cortisol level is raised in their body, it actually takes us longer than men for that to come down. So once we get to a point, we're at that point for a while. And that's when you start going, oh no, I have to do this, I have to do that. And you're running around and you're half doing this and half doing that. You might start getting verbally a bit stressy, or you're coming in down on yourself. You might be snapping at somebody. Unfortunately, that's where cortisol brings us. But if you can not try and let that cortisol level go straight up to that point, straight off the bat. If we're doing little things to help ourselves on the way, that's going to be lower. And it means it's going to be easier for us to release that cortisol then in the evening times when it's time for us to sit down. And, make a phone call, watch Netflix, whatever it is you want to do. You're going to go to bed then feeling way more relaxed, way less stress. You're going to have better sleep quality as well, which sets you up for the next day. And you just get in this beautiful pattern of just working in a cycle that suits you, suits your family, and gives you energy and time back.
You are singing my song. This is what equals a calm home. When you have that simple system of emptying the manky lunchbox and getting that done, it's like tick. And they're not all these things that are loading stress on your body. You're kind of going, right, they're just done. Get them out of the way. I'm not thinking about it. It's second nature. It's a habit. And it's all habit building. But that can take time. So
for sure. And we can't go all in trying to do everything at the one time. Like I say that with my clients. I just left a client there last week and she's like, Jenny, this is amazing. This is fantastic. I did her kind of bathroom and all her cosmetics and her shoes and her bags. And she's like, this is great, but I'm really worried that in a week's time, it's just going to go back to the way it was. And I was like, no, this is what we're going to do. I asked her a lot of questions of what's realistic for you? Would you be a person that would come in and just do the whole thing in one go? And she's like, no, because then I'm left sitting in it and I don't know where to go. I said, don't do that. I always say with my clients, start small, start as small as possible. One little drawer, one little cupboard, one little section of your living room, the top shelf of your bathroom cabinet, whatever, just super, super, super small. and do it well and do it intentionally. Like think it through and go, okay, actually, I don't use that cream unless I've super dry skin. So does it need to be taken up? And it's a big, big bottle. Does it need to take all that space up on that shelf where I'm scrambling to find places for all my other daily things I use more often? No, it doesn't. Okay, so let's decide to take that out and we'll place that in a more appropriate home. And then you can move things up you use daily. And as you do this, you kind of start real, okay, I'm being super intentional. I'm being super thoughtful about this. I'm really thinking through what is a priority for me and what do I really need. And once you start doing that, look at after and go, that's really working well. And you kind of do it, you're used to it for a week and you're like, yeah, that's the system. It's really working well. I'm going to put that back there and that goes back there every time I use it. And that's working really well. And that gives you such endorphins. It gives you such a sense of, happiness. It does for me anyway. But achievement, all those really positive endorphins are flowing through your body and you're like, okay, so I'm going to take the next shelf and the next shelf. And next thing you've done the whole cupboard and then you move down to the drawer. So I'm just picturing my bathroom here and what's in it. And then you move down to the drawer and the drawer is the one you don't open. And so, that big cream has gone in there, this little spray here that you that's gone in there. And that's great. I know I have this little overflow area for when I need it, but it's not in my daily reach, that I'm going for these things. It's the same with your clothes, deciding, okay, you're tackling your wardrobe, but we're coming into a bit of a season change maybe in the next month or so. And we decide, okay, all those summer dresses, they don't need to be taking up space in the wardrobes. Let's put them under the bed. I have one of those ottoman beds, I decide to put all the summer clothes in there and I do all the rotations all the time. Yep. And it's just like that, taking a little section bit by bit, very, very small, make it really, really positive experience for yourself. It motivates you, a sense of achievement, a sense of happiness, and then you can continue building on that. And next thing, within 2 or 3 weeks, you've got your whole bedroom, your wardrobe and your bathroom all sorted. And then you're going up to your room in the evenings and it's calm and it's nice and you can light a candle, spray, read your book, and not sitting there looking at clutter, looking at things that you're like, oh, I need to do that, I haven't done that. And going to bed, going to sleep with those negative thoughts, that is not going to give you good sleep, and therefore it doesn't set you up for the next morning. Same thing, wake up in the morning not seeing clothes piled all around the place because you have got space in your wardrobe to put everything away because your summer gear is still living all in there. That sets you up, that sets the tone for your day. You want to leave the house feeling somewhat good about things, not like, oh my God, get me out of this house. You don't want to feel like that. If someone's asked me to do a whole house, I always start with their bedroom because if you can set them up, even like for day 2 of working with them, day 3, if I do their bedroom and if they have an ensuite, if I do them first, the mood they're in the next morning, it is hugely different to the mood they were the first morning with me. They've got a better sleep, they've been thinking positive things, they're really geared up to go into day 2 and day 3. It makes such a difference. I would always say start super small, one drawer, one shelf, one tiny little area, and if you can, start with your bedroom first. Even though that mightn't be the busiest room in your house or have the most clutter or issues to be dealt with, try and start there and then move on to the hardest area that you need to tackle, because you will wake up that morning, do that hard room that's really, really in, but you'll wake up in a much better mood and much more positive about the experience that you're going to have.
And it's and Jenny, I think we could probably talk about this for weeks. I love this. It's like food and drink to me. To kind of wrap it up, like there's so many nuggets you've given us there, but what you've just described, it's all about how you feel.
Yeah, no, it is. It's about our feelings. At the end of the day, how we want to feel in the world. Nobody wants to feel bad about themselves. No one wants to feel stressed. Nobody wants all those negative feelings in their life. And there is little things we can do to help it be way more positive. Our home is a huge factor. As I say, it should be a sanctuary. It shouldn't be a place of chaos. It should be a sanctuary for you. And anything you can do to help that for yourself, I think, is just going to make you feel wonderful.
As you said, it's the knock-on effect, of course, to all the stress, because when you're stressed, if you have a partner at home, I'll just give my example. If I'm stressed, Dave's going to get it. The kids are going to pick up on that.
Yeah.
Everyone's stressed. They're going to have tantrums. Like, it's just, it doesn't work.
No.
So, like,
and it's not fun. Who wants that? That's not fun. We want to have nice, lovely, easy, fun lives as much as possible. Like this morning, before the little fella left this morning, he was just like, Mommy, and I was like, yeah, and he was like, look at this, and he brought up this big toy of a Ferris wheel and put it on the side of the bed as I was getting dressed, and I was like, oh my God. And instead of me going, what are you doing, bring that up, that's not supposed to be in here, like, I just went, oh my God, and we played for a couple of minutes. And then when I went downstairs, instead of leaving it there, I just picked it up and brought it down the stairs. Like, have all these little fun moments, have all these good moments in our lives as much as possible. I'm all about having the good moments, you know, and anything you can do to help that in your home, do it, because you will reap the rewards tenfold, you know.
It's going to spill into every other quadrant of your life. And it is about moments, and especially, and I will wrap it up here, when we work full time, we can be hard on ourselves about, oh, do we have the time with our kids? But it's not about days here and there. It's about those little moments of connection, like that you had with Hugh there with the Ferris wheel, and he was thrilled with himself. Those little moments are what make the difference, you know, make us feel good about ourselves.
Sacrifice a bit of time in advance for that. So it's okay, for the next month, I'm really going to focus on my house, each room in my house. I'm going to focus on something. It's okay to sacrifice that in the short term to have the long-term effects, you know. It really, really is. And you may feel guilty doing it and going, God, I should be spending time with my son right now. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. Yeah, but that's the reason why you're doing this now. So you can do that and do that for a much longer time. So it's okay to sacrifice. It's okay to focus. It's okay to do this work now in order for you to have more good moments in your life.
I love it. And Jenny, as this is going to be going out, we're back to school. Do you have any back to school one tip you can share?
I've lots. Actually, my latest newsletter, my blog, go onto my website, agoodmoment.company.ie, and I have a blog up there giving so many tips about back to school. I even actually have a checklist as well people can download. So that is a kind of a checklist in terms of getting ready, but it's also in setting up new routines as well to help you once you start into the school year. First thing would be a designated area for the kids' coats, shoes, school bags, lunch boxes, and all their sports equipment, you know, depending what age they are. Have that ready to go. Have those areas sorted, ready to go, because it's, you know, from day one, that's going to be happening every morning and every afternoon that they come home. So get that area ready. Get all your lunch boxes and your water bottles and any of those kind of accessories and stuff like that for lunch. Have a drawer ready to go, that they're always going to be in there. They're going to be cleaned, washed, put back in there and taken out every day. And you have your kind of rotation system going. Even in your fridge, have a little area for the school lunch snacks, things you're just putting in the school lunches or whatever. Have a little designated area in that as well. In terms of a homework station, get yourself a little caddy, a little box with handles. They can have all the stationery, all the bits and bobs that you're able to put on. Say if they're doing their homework on the kitchen table, put on the table, have everything there, everything goes back into it, and that can be put away into a press or a shelf or something like that. Yeah, so you're just not scrambling for things every evening, you know. Have them all in one little area. You can get these great ones actually in IKEA, and you know, they have a little handle and they hold an awful lot of stuff as well, which is great. I'm trying to think what else.
No, Jenny, that is loads. Thank you. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, check out my website, because I have great checklists and great blogs up there with lots of tips and tricks and, you know, advice on how about to go things. So if you do feel you're not ready for back to school, there's lots up there ready.
I love it. Straight away, just go to the website. There's a checklist, like all the, and it's the mental load, because we make up to 35,000 decisions a day. And for you to come in and just reduce that by going, okay, as Jenny has sat down and thought about this, so we don't have to. Just take the mental load away for you, know, reduce it and look at it with that checklist. And I'm so excited that Jenny's actually going to join us on the Life Work Balance Blueprint and do a masterclass around boundaries and systems. So we touched upon it today, the education piece, but we're really going to get into it in the masterclass on the Life Work Balance Blueprint. That is going to be amazing to get those real practical, like what you discussed today. Just get in it and make it digestible and easy. And okay, here are simple steps to get you started to build those habits that then just become second nature. So the blueprint is kicking off in mid-September. So Jenny will be coming on to do a masterclass, which is amazing. And also you can find Jenny on Instagram at, what is your handle, Jenny?
A good mum and company.
So check Jenny out there. I think we all need a Jenny in our lives. Like, and I am organized. I am type A, but I can relate to everything you're saying so much because I'm a recovering people pleaser. I'm a recovering perfectionist. And these are all things I need to deprogram. But it is for the wider goal. It's to have a calm space at home so that we can be calm, so we can be focused in work, but also show up as our best selves in work at home with our kids, with our family. That's really the goal of the work that we're both doing, really in different ways. So Jenny, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. It was
chat.
So much fun. God, we could have chat for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to be on the masterclass as well. And I really hope people listening got some nice tips, but also understand the logic behind it, the mindset behind it, the reason why. It's hugely, hugely powerful. So give yourself that time to really think about it.
Yeah, give yourself the permission to be calm.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jenny. And thank you everyone for listening today. I'm sure you've taken away loads. I have. And I'm going to be actually straight on going to that checklist now to check it out for the back to school. But thank you. And thanks to everyone for listening. And I will catch you on the next episode.